Welcome back to the Instant Fame, and thanks for taking a moment to settle in with me, because what we're about to unpack together will not only clear up a lot of confusion you might encounter online, but will also give you calm, practical tools you can use in your own digital life and in your own personal photos. Before you rush into any of those eye-catching posts that insist you should look only if you're alone or promise something sensational involving Elizabeth Shue, take a slow breath and stay with me through this entire journey. The online world is filled with exaggerated headlines and misleading captions designed to hook your attention before you even have time to think. What I want to do here is unravel how that works, help you spot it instantly, and then reshape the conversation into something far more respectful, honest, and genuinely useful, not only toward Elizabeth Shue, but toward anyone whose name gets pulled into these kinds of tactics. A lot of flashy posts use phrasing meant to make you feel like you're stumbling upon something scandalous or hidden, but in reality, these posts are not built on trust, truth, or appreciation. They're built on impulse. They rely on that quick moment where your curiosity outruns your critical thinking. And they often reduce a person, especially a public figure like Elizabeth Shue, to a tiny fragment that is far less interesting and far less meaningful than who she is and what she has accomplished over decades of steady work. What those dramatic, "these photos will shock you" messages skip over is the more grounded truth. Elizabeth Shue has had a long, steady, thoughtful career that ranges across genres and emotions. Whether someone first saw her in a heartfelt role, a comedic moment, or something action-driven, the through line in her work is sincerity. Reducing her to a bait title does nothing to honor that. That's why it matters that we shift the focus away from empty shock value and toward a deeper understanding of how to navigate content responsibly while still appreciating the real person behind the name. And that brings us to your feed, your space, your choices, your influence. You deserve an online environment that feels respectful, reliable, and uncluttered by manipulative noise. To keep that space healthy, here's a simple 3-step process that helps you evaluate any attention-grabbing image or headline you encounter. First, think about the source. Ask yourself who captured the photo and where it originally appeared. A real, legitimate picture usually has context. Maybe it came from a film premiere, a public event, a red carpet, a magazine interview, a charity appearance, or a personal account where the individual shared it intentionally. When a picture is genuine, it generally has a trail you can follow. You don't need hours to track it down. Sometimes just a reverse image search or looking for the event mentioned in the caption tells you everything you need to know. Second, examine the context. Real posts usually come with a date, a place, or a purpose. They tell you when something happened, why it happened, or offer insight into what was going on. A caption that's vague, teasing, or purposely incomplete, something like, "You won't believe this," is often a sign that the goal isn't to inform, but to lure you in. Context helps you separate authentic content from manipulative bait. Whenever you notice a caption making a claim without explanation, it's wise to pause before believing or sharing it. Third, consider whether the post aligns with the environment in which the photo was taken. Ask whether the person was at a public event, a press appearance, or a moment where photos were expected and welcomed. If the image seems out of place, overly cropped, or taken in a way that feels intrusive, it's best not to engage. Withholding engagement protects both you and the person in the photo. It stops the algorithm from promoting misleading or invasive content and keeps your online habits aligned with your values. Once you practice those 3 steps: source, context, and alignment, you'll notice your feed becomes cleaner and calmer almost instantly. And from that point, we can shift our focus towards something far more grounded and respectful, appreciating Elizabeth Shue for her body of work and the way she carries herself publicly. Elizabeth Shue has built a reputation for appearing polished without looking overstyled, confident without being flashy, and approachable without sacrificing professionalism. Her presence, whether on-screen or in interviews, often reflects a balanced, understated ease that makes her feel relatable. That quality is something many people admire, and it's something you can draw inspiration from when you're trying to create a simple, elegant look for your own photos, something that feels natural rather than forced. Start with comfort. Not the kind of comfort that looks sloppy, but the kind that lets you breathe easily and move without adjusting your clothing every few seconds. Choose pants or a skirt that sits comfortably at your natural waist. Pair that with a top that skims your shape rather than clings to it too tightly. The goal is to look polished while still feeling like yourself. If you feel constrained, it will show in your posture, your expression, and the overall mood of your photos. Next, choose a color palette that suits your skin tone and draws attention subtly toward your face. Soft combinations like cream and charcoal, navy and white, blush and tan, or black with muted neutrals tend to photograph beautifully. These tones don't overpower your features. Instead, they create harmony and calm within the frame. You might even pick a color that reflects the tone of your day, something warm for relaxed moments, something crisp for professional settings, something deeper for evening shots. A single, understated accessory can work wonders. You don't need flashy jewelry or standout pieces unless that's part of your personal style. A simple pendant, a lightweight watch, or a slim belt can add just enough interest without distracting from your expression. Think of accessories as accents, not statements. They should complement your look rather than dominate it. Shoes matter more than many people realize. Wear something that feels natural and familiar because discomfort shows up in photos as tension in your posture or reluctance in your stride. Whether you prefer flats, low heels, ankle boots, or casual sneakers, choose a pair that makes you feel grounded.
Now let's talk about lighting, your most valuable partner in photography. If you're outdoors, aim for early morning or late afternoon when sunlight is softer and more diffused. Harsh midday light can create shadows that distort your features. Indoors, face a window that provides even, natural light, and take a small step back so the illumination spreads across your face without washing you out. Before taking a photo, tidy your surroundings gently. Straighten a few objects, remove clutter from the edges of the frame, adjust your background so your environment looks intentional rather than accidental. You don't need perfection, just awareness. Many phones have a grid layout you can enable to help you align the horizon or keep the frame balanced. When you pose, simplicity works best. Step one foot slightly ahead of the other. Relax your shoulders. Lengthen your neck gently. Keep your chin neutral. Let your hands hold something small or perform an easy motion, like adjusting a sleeve or holding sunglasses. These minor actions prevent stiffness, which is often what makes poses feel unnatural. Here's a tiny trick that makes a world of difference. Exhale lightly right before the photo is taken. That small breath softens your expression and gives your face a relaxed, genuine appearance. It signals to your features that they don't need to perform, they just need to exist. And when you share a photo, choose a caption that reflects something sincere. Instead of drawing attention to your body or creating exaggerated suspense, say something honest about the moment. What you were thinking, what you enjoyed, what you appreciated. Authenticity resonates far more deeply than theatrics. Before we move on, let's revisit the guardrails for handling manipulated rumors or suspicious images. If you ever stumble across a post that seems unbelievable or just off, try a quick reverse image search. Look for the same photo on reliable sources. If the image is legitimate, it will often appear in trustworthy places. If it doesn't show up anywhere credible, or if it seems heavily edited, cropped, or repurposed, it's best to let it go. Not every claim deserves your attention, and not every picture deserves to be repeated. Your participation shapes the online environment more than you might think. By choosing not to amplify questionable content, you help protect both yourself and the individuals being misrepresented. Silence in the right moments is a form of care and responsibility. When discussing someone's style, whether Elizabeth Shue or any other figure, you can shift the conversation away from gossip and toward the thoughtful aspects of presentation. Fabrics that drape well, colors that complement, fits that empower someone to move comfortably, and the ways people carry themselves in different spaces. These elements give you practical insights you can adapt for yourself while still respecting the person you're talking about. To make this easy to remember, keep a small mental checklist: consent, context, and credit. Those three elements ensure that your feed stays respectful and aligned with truth. And then add one more C: care. When you place care at the center of what you share, like, or comment on, your online space becomes not just cleaner but kinder. You show respect for the people you admire, and you reinforce values that make digital spaces more humane. By staying with me through all of this, you've built a toolkit that serves two purposes. You now have a clear way to separate fact from fiction in the moment you first encounter content, and you also have a calm, reliable approach to creating photos and posts that feel serene, elegant, and genuine. These tools are simple, but they transform the way you move through your digital world. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you enjoyed this or found it helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which public figure's graceful presence or camera habits you'd like me to explore next. I'll be happy to create a practical, easy-to-use guide just for you. Stay curious, stay kind, and remember, you have far more influence on the tone of your online world than you realize.